A wounded protester is rushed through the back streets of Mandalay as police open fire on protesters in Myanmar's second city on Saturday. Despite the threat of injury or death, there seems to be no sign the protesters are being deterred. At his home in Yangon, the body of Si Tu, a 37-year-old trishaw peddler, lies under a green cover. He was shot overnight on Friday as the security services tried to disperse protesters who'd gathered outside a police station in Taketa district. The protesters were calling for the release of 3 men arrested in raids earlier in the night. Filmed furtively from an overhead window, these pictures show one of those arrests. Dragged from their homes, several men are hit and kicked by the police.
And at least 8 people have been killed and dozens wounded by a powerful car bomb in western Afghanistan. The late-night blast targeted a police station in the city of Herat. Around 50 people were wounded and homes and shops were destroyed. The government blamed the Taliban, but a spokesman for the group denied responsibility. The United Nations has condemned what it calls an alarming increase in attacks targeting civilians.
Welcome back. Motorists in the northern parts of Durban are being warned to be vigilant on the roads following numerous reports of rock throwing. A private security company says in recent weeks it's responded to 12 incidents between Tongaat and Verulam.
Rock throwing is not new in this part of Durban. In 2017, 2 people died when a rock was thrown at their vehicle while travelling on the N2 highway near Tongaat. In the latest incident, this unsuspecting motorist was attacked while on his way home.
While at the center median, I noticed that there were a few guys on the road. And the next thing I realized that my vehicle is being hit.
Private security company Reaction Unit South Africa says in one of its call-outs, an ambulance responding to a medical emergency was also attacked on the R102 near King Shaka Airport.
It's the latest in the mounting Democratic backlash against the New York governor. The state's 2 senators, Majority Leader Chuck Schumer and Kirsten Gillibrand, issued a joint statement saying the current fight against COVID-19 requires a sure and steady leadership, suggesting Andrew Cuomo no longer has that.
Due to the multiple credible sexual harassment and misconduct allegations, it is clear that Governor Cuomo has lost the confidence of his governing partners and the people of New York. Governor Cuomo should resign.
Almost the entire New York congressional delegation has now deserted Cuomo, as the number of women accusing him of sexual misconduct has risen to 7.
Sri Lanka will ban the wearing of the burqa and shut more than 1,000 Islamic schools, according to a government minister. It's the latest move from the government affecting the country's minority Muslim population. Speaking at a news conference, Sarath Weerasekara, Minister for Public Security, had this to say.
Yesterday I signed a cabinet paper to ban the burqa. It affects our national security directly. In our early days, Muslim women and girls never wore the burqa. It's a sign of religious extremism that came about recently. We're definitely going to ban it. Also, there are more than 2,000 madrasa schools in the country. Nobody can open a school and teach whatever you want to the children. Jordan's health minister resigned on Saturday after 6 people died following an oxygen outage in a hospital treating coronavirus patients. Police were deployed to hold back angry relatives, state media said. The oxygen failure earlier on Saturday hit intensive care, maternity and coronavirus wards in the new Salt government hospital west of the capital Amman. A government spokesman said Prime Minister Al-Qassani asked the country's health minister to resign over the accident. The government said initial investigations showed the 6 deaths were caused by a 1-hour disruption in oxygen to the wards and that prosecutors were handling the case.
supporters and critics of Bolivia's former interim president face off just hours after her arrest. Janine Áñez was detained in the early hours of Saturday morning before being flown to the capital, La Paz, and led into the back of a waiting police car. Arrested on charges of terrorism and sedition, she's accused of organising a coup against the government back in 2019. Áñez denies the claims. As well as Áñez, 2 other former ministers from her administration were also detained. Government officials say authorities opened a probe into their actions back in December and deny using the investigation as a pretext to round up their opponents.